This is Backchat on FBI Radio, and right now, as I mentioned, we're joined in the studio by the Deputy Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good to be here.
Sportsbet has just paid out $1.5 million in wages on a coalition victory. Do you think that was wise?
Well, you'd have to be a complete nong to take the Australian public for granted. Nong's the technical term.
Yes.
Really, like it. One of the things about these polls is that they don't get everyone in them. One of the groups that they don't get is young people who don't have home phones. I know that young people are more likely to be engaged with the National Broadband Network. They're more likely to be interested in education. They're more likely to be interested in issues like marriage equality. They're more likely to be interested in climate change and the environment. By definition, you have a perspective that is, you're going to be around for longer than I will. All other things being equal,
Fingers crossed, at least anything could happen
on this planet. So therefore, part of what I think the distinction between the parties is about, Labor and the Greens, together I think both have a perspective which is about future generations as well, not just talking about next week or next year.
We're speaking to Deputy Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony Albanese, live in the studio here on Backchat. How you going, Albo?
Very well.
Now, we put a call out on Twitter. We asked some...
It's kind of funny, don't you think, that sort of, I thought I get to be Deputy Prime Minister, people might call me something other than Albo, but all that's happened is that now everyone calls me Albo.
It is your Twitter handle.
Yeah, maybe,
it's fine.
Maybe you shouldn't own it quite so much if you wish to lose it. I wanted to ask about, I guess, kind of the interplay of the political and the personal. I mean, it's very well known that the last parliament was quite a tumultuous one for reasons both political and personal. Yeah. And I guess I wanted to ask about how some of your policies sit with you as a person. For instance, I mean, politically, I completely understand the current asylum seeker policy, but personally, it seems quite abhorrent to me. How does it sit with you?
Look, it's difficult, but it's a difficult issue. If you had have said to me 10 years ago, right, that I would support our current policy, I would have said to you, I don't think so. The fact is that more than 1,000 people have lost their lives. The fact is that more than 1,000 people were coming every week by boat. Is it sustainable for more than 50,000 people to be coming by boat on an annual basis, with many of them losing their lives? No, it's not. So, I've said to some people during this campaign, I understand that you're uncomfortable with it. I'm not comfortable with everything we're doing either. But tell me what the solution is. If you've got one, I'm happy to listen to it.
Just one last question. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, so we're going to have to move on. But I wanted to ask you, a major part of your narrative is that you were raised by a single mother in Housing Commission in Camperdown. You became the member for Grayndler. Now you're the Deputy Prime Minister of the country. And yet, under legislation enacted in the last Parliament, single parents across the country are now struggling because they had their single parent payments cut to New Start. Do you think that those cuts needed to be made? And how does it sit with you, having come from that?
Well, look, those cuts, of course, were made by the Howard government. What happened...
That said, you have had 6 years to reverse them.
No, that's true. And what happened was the Howard government changed the policy and they grandfathered it. So there were some people were under the old system, some under the new system, and we removed the grandfathering of those changes. Would I like to see more done? Yes, I would. That's the truth of the matter.
Will you be moving to do more?
But also, well, I'm an advocate on these issues, and in terms of internally, I'll be putting the case. But I also don't. Have never had the view that you just tell people what they want to hear. I'm not in a position to do that. If you're an independent or a Green or someone, you can just say, oh yeah, we'll argue this and not worry about where the money's coming from. What I want to see is to, one, give incentives to single mums to get into work, but to also make sure that single parents are respected for the work that they do.
Anthony Albanese, Deputy Prime Minister of Australia, thank you so much for your time. Would you like to forward announce the next song for us, please?
I've been given that great task, and the next song is Raw Balls by UV Race.
Thank you very much.